welcome to Nerdemic. My name is Callum John.
My name is Alistair Fiore.
I'm Adam.
So I'm Kieran.
And welcome to our review of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens.
This will have no spoilers. I repeat, there are no spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film yet, you can watch it. You can watch this before going to see the film.
J.J. Abrams definitely brings aboard his mystery box idea, so the film includes a lot of reveals and twists and turns, making the film interesting and invigorating. I was not able to know everything that was about to happen, and I was able to work stuff out in my head as it was presented to me on the screen.
Was it good? If I'm honest, yeah.
The film is amazing.
It's fantastic.
Really good.
It was really, really good. It's definitely one of the better Star Wars films.
Reviewing the plot for this film is quite difficult, as most things in it would be classified as a spoiler.
Is it better than the prequel trilogy? And the answer is yes, very much yes.
I can shout on top of the roof going, this is better than the prequels. 100%.
The story is fantastic. It's a perfect homage to A New Hope, but at the same time having enough unique new elements to make it its own perfect movie.
Is it better than the original? I can't say that for certain right now.
There's a couple of moments which I felt could have been dealt with a little bit better, but I'll talk about those on a later date when I'm able to talk more about my spoilers.
But yeah, it was really good and I had a blast watching it.
This film is so much more focused. I couldn't say that there was any particular point in it which could really have been cut down too much without making it possibly a little bit too frenetic.
Above Return of the Jedi and around on par with A New Hope. So it is a great Star Wars film.
As for the characters, I feel that the new characters are definitely worthy successors to Han Solo and Luke Skywalker.
Characters is probably the main reason that people do keep coming back to the original trilogy with Star Wars, and that's the reason that they preferred it so much over the prequels.
Our four new main leads are characters that I personally just want to know more about. They're fun, they're entertaining, and they don't just stick to archetypes like the Leia of the group, the Han, the Luke, but instead have their own versions of themselves, which allow us to have more of an experience with them.
The two central characters, Finn and Rey, are both fantastic, actually. I think they both really add something to this universe.
But Rey herself is a brilliant new introduction to how we can enter the series. She is a strong female role, a great example of a new lead of this new trilogy. I definitely want to see more from her and how her story is going to progress as we learn more about her backstory and how she's going to continue forward.
You don't have as much focus on kooky characters who take up screen time for no discernible reason or perhaps beyond their necessary use.
Finn is also a great character, as he allows us to sort of see a new side to what we haven't really seen in Star Wars before. He's brought into the plot not because of his connection to anyone, but instead of his own personal belief of what is good and moral. A personal favourite of mine is Pope Daramon, as he's not really cocky, but instead he allows him to be this fun, egotistical character which steals every single scene he's in. I love to see more of him in the later films as how he progresses and hopefully gets a lot more screen time, as he's becoming one of my new favourite parts of Star Wars. BB-8 is a perfect follow-up to R2-D2, as he's fun, but he's not overly comedic and cutesy as he could have been, but instead does connect a lot to the plot as well as giving some really funny moments. What's great about having the old characters back is they're actually part of the plot. They're not just there for fan service. They are bringing about the story, and without them it would be a very different film.
The new villain is surprisingly threatening. Almost Vader level. I'm gonna say, at this point I'm saying he's almost Vader level intimidating.
Kylo Ren is a perfect new villain, as he is not only scary and threatening, but also we are able to see his motivation coming through, which sort of builds him more as a character instead of just the threat against our leads. I would love to see so much more of his backstory and his narrative coming across in later films, similar to what we had with Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back.
He's a villain that you possibly could even see not being a bad guy, but he has this drive behind him and it's fantastic.
And also, if you can tell, I kind of really admire The way his mask curves around his long, elegant face. It's a good villain.
The only performance I'd perhaps question is Domhnall Gleeson as General Hux, who is fantastic at marshalling, at doing his bidding, but occasionally he does fall into the trap of making it just a little bit too stilted or hammy.
The use of IMAX in the cinematography of this film really shows, as it creates this more amazing landscape and view of how we see the Star Wars galaxy.
You can really go to different places and you really feel that those places are alive.
So I was smiling all the way through it whenever something blew up, or like lightsabers flying and lasers going about and the Millennium Falcon doing its thing.
It is fantastic. You have Imperial ships that don't look like models, that look like they should be flying around and acting in this way, and it's fantastic because of that.
The large use of practical props really shows in this film, as it creates a more natural, realistic feel to everything that's happening and what we can see in all of the creatures and the props and the landscapes. And yes, of course, there is CGI, but it's used to add something to what we see instead of just being this big spectacle as they were in the prequels.
But at least in this one, it definitely felt like everything was updated but didn't lose the spirit of the original, which is something that the prequels could never do.
Easiest way to describe this film: I laughed, I cried, I was gripped to the screen. Just see it. It's a film that if you're a Star Wars fan, you need to see.
Go see this as soon as you can if you haven't already.
It is definitely a must-to watch for 2015, or just anything.
So our Nerdemic score for Star Wars The Force Awakens is an A.
If you're looking for a Star Wars film that honours the original films, that keeps the feel, the love, and the character and the mythos, by as well as adding onto it new surprises and just new moments that make you go, wow, you're gonna really like this film.
As the film does have a couple of little moments that it could have been improved on, but it is darn close to perfect. It is a great introduction back into the Star Wars universe, as it is compelling, gripping, and just a fun film to see. If you're a Star Wars fan or not, I highly recommend, if you haven't already, going along to your local cinema and watching Star Wars The Force Awakens. May the Force be with you, and as always, stay nerdy, guys. Hey, if you like the video, please give us a like, and in the comment section below, do you agree with us? What's your own personal thoughts on the film? And you will subscribe to Nerdemic.